Ruthener T. Rice, Tina middle name Rice, born in Georgetown Memorial Hospital, Georgetown, South Carolina, 23rd of May, 1960. I entered the United States Army on the entry delay in October of 1978. I went on active duty on the 14th of February, 1979, Valentine's Day. Had to get out of here. And I've served, my duty station start at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, for basic training and my skill, which was 71 Lima, which is administrative specialist, which I served in that capacity. But I actually wanted to come in as a computer specialist, but that field was not open at the time. So 3 years later, I got selected for 74 Foxtrot, which sent me to Fort Bend, Indiana to get the training. And from there, I had my first duty station and I went to Uijambu, Korea, Camp Red Cloud in South Korea. Well, it was pretty exciting, but to be a ninth child out of 13, and we had a farm, I felt like there wasn't really a lot going on that Mom and already had us doing. But it took a lot of focus and a lot of determination. When they met us, I took the bus there. So when they picked us up from the bus station, they had a cattle truck. I was like, oh, no way. And it smelled like it had just been unloaded with cattle. And that's how they brought us into Fort Jackson. We had 3 different types of drill sergeant. The training was like totally awesome because just like I said, the things that we had to do with my sisters and brothers on the farm wasn't really hard for me as a person, but it was a type of training. And we were one of the first training in February 1979 that they trained the men and the women together. And I was determined that I was gonna make it. And it was just, the gas chamber, the running the 25 miles, the rappelling. It was great because it allowed me to know more about myself and what I could do. I had to be able to do something different than crop tobacco and pick cotton. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so it was awesome. I would recommend that any child that wasn't sure that what they wanted to do at least two or 3 years of military time. You find out so much about yourself. Our road marches were 25 miles. Yes. So when, with the rucksack, but thank God, for me and my push, I became the armor guard, the garden for the company. So I was always the one out front, and then to be out front, and if anybody fall behind, then we'd always have to go back and get that person. So you learn a lot about team. you get upset. Oh yeah, we had some little wet parties where people, well, if they didn't follow the rules, we would have little blanket parties or whatever. But it was all about, boot camp was all about being a part of a team and not leaving anyone behind. And we had our moments. We had our moments where we fuss with each other and act with each other. But 4 o'clock the next morning, making sure everybody bed dressed right dress, making sure we all our boots would shine in all our uniforms. So you weren't just able to look out for you. You had to look out for the guy next to you, to the left and to the right. So it was an awesome experience. Even though I had 12 sisters and brothers, I had never experienced nothing like that. The boot camp was 6 weeks, and the administrative part of learning to be a 71 Lima, which is administration special, was 4 weeks. So I was there for a total of 10 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then tell us about your next journey, where you went after that.
Well, actually, I ended up being, doing my active duty time after boot camp. I ended up actually being at Fort Jackson, working at the ID shop on Fort Jackson, South Carolina, because going in to my entry delay, I always wanted to be a computer specialist, but it wasn't open at the time. So I went on and became in as admin, which is 71 Lima. And then when the school came open, that's when they allowed me to switch over, about 3 years later, to switch over to 74 Foxtrot, which sent me to Fort Brand Harrison, Indiana, which sent me to Seoul, Korea. Yes, ma'am, my first overseas assignment. Mm-hmm. Insane. It was a bad time of the year. I mean, it was around December, and we got on a flight. I left Fort Jackson. We flew to California. We could not. We left from California to go to Alaska to go to Korea, but the snowstorm. We went to Korea. We couldn't land at Busan, so we ended up going back to Alaska to sit. But Korea was totally different. And then to understand that we were on the DMZ, the Delta Military Zone, South Korea, but I was stationed at Camp Red Cloud. I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with the MASH, the show MASH. That's where MASH was filmed, where I was stationed in Uijeongbu, Korea. So that tour was 13 months, and it was just us. We worked I was a 71 Lima Foxtrot 5, which over there I did postal. So I did the admin specialist, and then I was a postal clerk. That was a total experience, being there, being in the culture, and understanding that, basically because all the different type of foods, they talk about kimchi and all that different things over there. For that tender, I ate on post, because I knew what chicken looked like. They have a delicacy, the dog is a delicacy, the cat. You don't see stray dogs and cat. I'm sorry, I'm speaking. So I just ate on post to know that it was chicken that I was eating. But anything you probably want, they have a lot of water type food. But it was quite an experience to be there in that country, to be 30,000 miles away from, home. And I felt like with 13 children, it's okay. She won't miss one of them. But I really, I was really glad, and learn how to appreciate. Learn a lot of things over there. I acquired my Taekwondo belt while I was there. Yes, ma'am. But it was just basically working and being, going on every fourth Sunday is when we'd have the gospel hour. So every fourth Sunday we would meet at a certain place called Camp Casey, which is a little bit closer to the DMZ, and we would have church, and then we just did our normal work from 8 to 5. Not so much base, but the country itself is not one of the cleanest country in the world, and to see the rice fields and to see how they to see how they harvest the rice, to see how they fertilize the rice. I mean, I almost gave up eating rice. Yeah, because the fields were, and all of the, whatever it was they were planting, and this might not be good, but it was fertilized by human waste. And that's one reason why I ate them. Because you could go and you could go and see like the orchard with the pears and the apples and all that. You could see, they call the trucks, honey trucks all. And you could actually see them dispersing the waste in the different areas. And, a lot of rice comes from, they do a lot of rice. So I was like, oh my God, they're actually in the fields. And this is how the fields are fertilized. And they were actually in the fields. And most of the time they didn't have on shoes. So it was kind of like different, to think back on it, I appreciate being from here. Because it's like, okay, yeah, that's, yeah. So then from Korea, I came back and I went to Fort Riley, Kansas, the big red one. And I was the NCO in charge of the women's prison. Lord have mercy. Yeah. That was totally an experience because we were still living in the open bay barracks. So, but as the NCO, I see of the women and of the jail itself, I was allowed to have my own quarters. But it was definitely an experience to be able to monitor and try to help people. Yeah. So being there, April, I got there January, 1981. Being there, I was taking my PT test. I did the 60 push-ups, the 60 sit-ups, 40 push-ups. I ran the 2 miles in 15 minutes. And at the end of it, I fainted. I passed out. And I was like, wow, okay? So this is very important, because I didn't stay that long. So they took my blood test, and we went to the hospital, and they were like, oh my God, specialist right, the rabbit died. I said, the rabbit died? What do you mean the rabbit died? You know what I mean, right? I was like, no way, because I knew I had just left Korea, and I did fool around there, but I was like, no way this happened to me. But yes, I was pregnant. And with that, the colonel there decided that I couldn't hold that position, being in charge of the women's prison. So they sent me back to Fort Jackson. I went from Big Red 1 back to Fort Jackson. And that's where I spent my tenure. I was at a certain place in Fort Jackson from 1981 to 1984. And then I got a by-name assignment because I acquired my computer skills to Fort McNair, Washington, D.C. So I went from Fort McNair, Washington, D.C. I went from Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I had the baby. A lot of hang up with my mom while I went there. So 1984, I went to Fort McNair, the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. And there I was on the honor guard, funeral. People that did the funerals. Exciting. I got to teach computers to the lieutenant colonels and above. And the great thing about that assignment was I only had to wear my uniform one day a week, and that was Friday because I was a teacher, and it was like to keep, the lowering down, because sometimes with the ranks or whatever, they're like, oh, this person should know this much and all that. So they didn't really want, they knew I was a enlisted person, but I got a chance to explore, my experience and teach a lot. And being at Fort McNair, Washington, D.C. made me a part of the Navy Yard, which I was stationed at Fort McNair, but I worked for the Washington Navy. So I was a part of the Joint Command, which I served the Air Force, Navy, Marine, and Army, and that was pretty cool. So from there, I went from Fort McNair, being a part of Fort Myer, the Army National Guard, the Army Honor Guard, and then I got orders for Vincenzo. And I was switching over. I wanted to switch over at that point to go into broadcasting. And I was headed to Vincenzo, me and my son, to live forever. But as I was clearing to go to Vincenzo, the last thing I had left to do was my eye exam. And the day that I did it, it was in 1989. I could almost see the exact day, but it was like on the clearance, and they said, "Sorry, Sergeant Rice, you can't go because you're going to go blind at any time." Anytime. So what they had, they admitted me to the Walter Reed Army Medical Center, and for 21 days to study and understand why this pressure sitting in my head, on my head, and I was still able to see. And I can see all of you today. This was 1989. It's totally awesome. So it's called pseudotumor cerebri. That was diagnosed in 1989. And I'll back up a little bit because in 1982, 6 months before my son was born, is when they diagnosed sarcoidosis, which for me set on my lungs, which that stopped me from going to an assignment that I wanted to go to. So that was 1984, but in 1989 is when they diagnosed the brain tumor. And I was like, okay, all right, gotta readjust, gotta just keep readjusting. So I wasn't able to go to Vincenzo because I would need to be somewhere close to a medical institution based on the severity of what they thought this tumor. Now this brain tumor has been sitting where it's been since 1989, thank God. And I'm well able to see. Mm-hmm. But I was told at any point I could just lose my vision. Yes, ma'am. So I didn't get to go to Vincenzo. I ended up being sent to Walter Reed Army Medical Center, and that's where I retired after. Mm-hmm.
What year did you retire?
And I retired the 1st of January 1995. Well, even before I had actually gone in the military, at about 12 years old, I kind of figured I was supposed to do something different. But I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And that's how we do. And the call of my life, I can tell you now, was to be an evangelist and be in the ministry. I didn't want to do that. I want to do what I wanted to do. So after I left after I retired from the military, I went on to work at the University of Maryland, College Park. I got hired there, which was where I finished my bachelor's degree, which I got it in information science and computer science. But I was told by the doctors at that point not to do that because of the brain tumor. Don't stress myself like that. So in 1999, I graduated, got my Bachelor of Science in Computers at the University of Maryland, still working there. The most important thing, I'm sorry y'all, I forgot. In 1982, there was a child that was born. His name was George. He's gonna kill me. Yeah, I had my son. Yeah, so I stayed there working on my master's so he could get his bachelor's. But of course, his friends convinced him that he wasn't college material. So it was kind of, because you get the 4 years free. You only have to pay for your books. So after that, I went on and got my, working with the masters, then I went on to divinity, and my track was discipleship. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of work. But with my military and being able to do that, being able to communicate with people, we started a group called Wound Healers. And what we do is we pray for people, we go out. We had food bank. I'm sorry, this was in Maryland. I just now recently came back to South Carolina a couple of years ago to that. But most of my ministry since 1995 has been in Maryland. Preaching, trustee, food bank, homeless. Love it. And trying hard, like I was sharing with a young man, to convince my peers that suicide is not an option. At any point, I've been now diagnosed with 5 different diseases. And at any point, I almost feel I can sit and just give up. But I refuse to do that. There's too much work I think that needs to be done. And there's a song that says, if I can help someone along the way, it's very important that I try to do that. The most recent thing that's actually happened with me, I had an amputation last July, and miraculous recovery. In about 2 months after I had the amputation, I was walking, and I thank God for that. So, another season. Just want somebody to not give up. Please, just don't give up. And I think sharing our stories, I wish more of us, the military, and I do care for civilians too, y'all, I really do. But there's so many of us that's hurting, even coming out. I was sharing with a young man here that suicide rate is, before the pandemic, was 100 plus a week. So now it's much, much higher than that. And it hurts because I understand why they go. Most of us, our greatest affliction is us. And a lot of people say we're self-inflicted. Yes, but we served, we did what we thought we could do. So I would say, but God, please, But a lot of them say, so what? God doesn't care about me. If he did, he wouldn't, And I'm saying, I really do understand. But just give that spirit a chance to help you, do better, be better. But it's kind of, once one of us decide to do something, it's hard. It's hard to. But I thank God for my parents, Lucian and Eva Rice. They're from the choppy section of Georgetown, South Carolina. They drug us to church, all 13 of us. They made us get in the station wagon, in the truck. So that foundation of my life says, even before the military, don't give up. And help somebody else. Try to help somebody else. A little culture shock. They're in Maryland. I could tell the doctors. I had a team of doctors, and I could explain to them what was going on, and they would say to me, you better than me. Then help us care for you. But coming here is like, okay, well, I'm a doctor, and this is what the book says, and this is what you need to do. And even with the amputation, I was saying to them, there's certain things I can't use, or certain things that I need to do. So they sourced me out to Med Center in Florence, and I had told the VA rep, I said, I don't want to go there. And I'm telling you, within weeks after me saying I didn't want to go there, things just went south. I mean, they took 2 toes, and then within 10 days, something went bad, and they was like, okay, we're going to either give the foot or you're going to die. And I was like, my God, I was dealing with this situation for about 20 years. So I say that to say, the advanced medicine, believe it or not, it does happen in different places. It's not a negative thing, it's just about where you're at. But the book of Nehemiah was dealing with me about here for a long time, because this is where I'm from. The elderly people and the older people, we didn't put our elders in homes. We kept them, So I was like, okay, maybe there's a lack of something going on in Georgetown County where I was born, but then I live in Williamsburg County. So Lord, what is it that I can do? What is I can do? So now I'm involved in the different associations, but it's still kind of hard for people to realize you can be that soldier, but we need Christ, And I say it like that, but it's like, in order for us to function and have peace, we need Christ. And I've done it. I thought I've done it my way, but in order to survive right now, my shirt on the back says Jesus and me cruising. So that's my message. This area, move a little bit, tick a little bit slow. But I think at most, I'm part of the Low Country Veterans Group. I want to make a difference. I'm actually a chaplain with the Low Country Veterans Group, a chaplain Hill is. So we have a list of people that we call and we encourage. but it's home. And I feel like no matter how minute it is, there's something I can do, something, maybe I can say to one of my peers, to the people that live here, that knew my mom and dad, that knew my sisters and brothers, to say, you know what, I can do it. She did it. Or she's doing it. I can do it. But it's a little culture shock in the difference of being in Maryland and calling Domino's and pizzas delivered. I'm the 9th out of 13. Dad was, he worked well, we did the farm thing. Okay, well, my grandmother, my grand, I can go back now about 5 generations. So my granddaddy was born in 1980. His name was Caleb Canteen. My grandmother's name was Mary Hasbin. She was born in 1886. My grandmother was actually a house, okay, I gotta say the word, but not out of context. She was actually a house Negro. So this is how she grew up. And my granddaddy actually worked in Pulpwood. So my mom and dad, my dad is from Dunbar, which is right across the river. My mom is from Choppy. I don't know if you heard about those two sections, okay? So there wasn't a bridge there at the time. And if you interview this family, you can take a look at Dunbar. But anyway, so Dad is, every day, he's swimming across Black River because there's no bridge, right? But grandmama is really from where he's from too. But I guess I would say, how men are, they think it's very intriguing over there that they go over there and meet somebody, date somebody. And they're actually from the same place, but they just got removed because of slavery or whatever. They got removed 16 miles away. So they're actually from the same place. Dad was a farmer, and then he got hired at the highway department, and then he went on to work at the steel mill. He retired from the steel mill. Now, I'll tell you about Daddy. His name was Lucian Rice, and Daddy never learned how to read, nor write. All Daddy could do is mark an X. Now, what was amazing about Mr. Lucian Rice, I don't know who taught him this, but Daddy could take a bill, whether it be a 5, 10, 1, and he could Swiss it on the end of his mouth. And he could, and I'm telling you this because later on in life he went blind. He could tell you what it was. I never got for him to teach me that. But he never learned how to read or write, but he did acquire those jobs throughout his lifetime. And he died, he was 84 years old. He died in 2010. Mama was a housekeeper. Of course, you do understand that, with 13 children. And then she probably was keeping everybody else's children too. But she was a house, she took care of the house and stuff. But to understand what she had acquired, the uniqueness of what she had acquired in the years of just doing what she did. Before Mom died in 2005. Before Mom died, they had acquired 25 acres of land. And you talk about people who just was under the never, no education, working in the fields, picking up people, taking them to the fields. So you see what my name is, right? Ruthener T. Rice. But I'm actually little Eva. My mom's name is Eva. Eva Canteen Rice. So, yeah. But prominent part of the community as far as farming and cooking and feeding and helping people do different things. Yeah. So I grew up cropping tobacco, picking cotton, picking corn. Even when I joined the military, I had to get a pickup truck because anytime I would come home, I had to work. If I came home on the weekend, if I came home on vacation, I hit the field. I still had to hit the fields and help the family with the farm. Yeah.
And where did you fall in the children lineup?
Number 9. I'm the fifth girl out of 5 girls, but I'm the 9th child. So there was and I do them by numbers. But anyway, there was 2 boys. There was 2 boys, 2 girls, and then a 5th child that died when he was 2 years old. And then there was 2 girls, Okay, so we're up to number 7 now. Then there was a boy, which is number 8, my brother Lester Levi Sr. Oh my God, he died today, this day, 21 years ago. He was in the military too. He was born in 1958. Anyway, he was child number 8. I'm number 9. And then there's 4 boys after me, which is Rivers, Marvin, James, and Stephen, and my baby brother. And I gotta say this, so this is the lineup. My mom dies in 2005. My dad dies in January 2010. My oldest brother dies in June 2010. My oldest nephew dies in August 2010. 2 of the younger kids, grandkids, one in September, one in October. And my baby brother dies in November 2010. So it's been quite an experience being number 9, but, okay, I'm not going to toot my horn, but I'm the one that tries to keep them together, tries to make them love each other, but Grandmama had already told me that this was my assignment when I was about 12 years old. I just didn't want to do it. And it gets a little bit tougher every year. But I love them. I love them. And my mom, right now, right out of my mom and dad, there's 50 plus grandchildren. And 1 grandchild just died last month. My brother who died today, his son died a month ago in Baltimore, Maryland. 63 plus great-grandchildren and 10 great-great-grandchildren. So right out of mom and dad, there's over 110 siblings. So I used to try to do the gathering twice a year, but now my task is to get the names and the birthdays. That's the best I can do. My God, yeah. Yeah. Big family. Best family. So I do enjoy it. Some days, I'll be honest, the hardest is getting the older siblings to conform to some type, communication and stuff like that, but it's all good. I was just about to get ready to go to work. I was in, I worked at University of Maryland. I was in Maryland. So I'm waking up. I hear the news, how we do when we wake up. We're listening to the news, we get ready to brush our teeth. And I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, something just happened in New Jersey. What the? So I'm stopping because I see the plane. And then the thing happens at the Pentagon. So all this is going to have an effect on me because, I'm working, well, I shouldn't be selfish, traffic, because I got to go from Upper Marlboro, Maryland to University of Maryland. And I was like, wow, this incredible. But about 6 months out, one of my peers, Reverend, his son worked in the tower, and they denied him a job. He was so upset. They denied him the next increase on his job. So he went from working there where the towers was to going to a part of New York. But the floor, I understand, that the plane went through, his son would have been right there. So I was saying to his son, when it was happening, God has something better for you. And he was like, no, this was crazy. I was due for that next promotion. So it was really, getting ready to go to work. Amazing. And then I have peers at the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. Yes. So much, so little time. It's all right. So I'm working on. I'm thanking God for this because I'm actually working on a book. So I'm going to talk about finding the courage to go on. Because throughout life, when things were diagnosed, and I'm 61 now, I just turned 61 in May. When I was told 5 times out of the 61 years that I wouldn't make it to the next day, and to go down to almost 0 and then to get back up, you have to find courage to go on. And that's what I say to anyone. Just take a minute and say, hey, it'll be what it is. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to be the best person I can be this right now. I have nothing tonight, tomorrow. So find courage to go on. In the military, we don't leave anyone behind. It's just that simple. So if you're a veteran, if you're a veteran and I came up to you and it doesn't matter. Now anybody, I'll do this for anybody, but if you say to me, if I'm at a gas station now and you're looking like you're having an issue and you don't have money for gas, I just did it. If I'm in the grocery store and I'm watching you maybe take pennies out of your purse or you're trying to get whatever you're trying to get, I just did it. No, I didn't just do it. God just allowed me to do it. So that's a part of what the Wound Heals does. So now, Evangelist Rice and Deacon G, man, he's a deacon at the Mount Olive Baptist Church. At the pandemic, we would have service every Sunday between 6 and 7. We just sit and pray and sing. So now that the pandemic is over, we every Sunday afternoon we pick people to go on their approaches, sit with them. This is a part of the Wound Heals. Sometimes in organized organizations like churches and different things, they have protocols they want you to follow. My protocol is to follow being a human and doing whatever it is necessary to help somebody. But I am an aggressive person. Monday nights online recording Sunday school, Wednesday nights of Bible study. Honestly, out of the whole pandemic, I've only missed church 3 Sundays, and that was when I was in the hospital. Asking God for strength to try to always encourage someone else. Now, as the Low Country veteran, part of the Low Country veteran, my name is Chaplain Rice. I'm one of the chaplains. We pray out, we pray in. I'm responsible out of that group for 22 veterans to call every month, see if they need prayer, they need food, if they need any finances. Then I report back to Commander Rutledge to let them know that this is what they need. We just, matter of fact, today one of the veterans died on the 29th of July. His name is Anta. They just put him down in the Florence National Cemetery today. Triple amputee. Triple. But I thank God for just knowing him. So this is what we do. I think we have more people in life like myself. It's just a matter of finding those people. I really do. And I tell people, they'll say to me, why would you pay for my gas? But my thing would be, why wouldn't I pay for your gas? God has blessed me down through the years. And not that I have a whole lot, but guess what? Tonight is not promised to me, tomorrow is not promised to me. So if I can help someone along the way. And I know my mom and dad put that in me, but the military just enforced it to say, we will leave nobody. Well, Tina Rice, it wouldn't be me. And I would not tolerate anybody who would say to me, don't do that for someone, because I would say, it's not you doing it. It's Jesus and me doing it. So you just need to relax for a minute. Because give me a minute. Because I'm going to do this. And I'll get right with you. But you just give me a minute. And I believe all of our veterans are, some of us are scarred to the point where our hearts are just waxed. But I can almost tell you that we wouldn't do it if we had an option of helping someone or walking away from someone. And I believe we'll die. We'll die trying to do it. That's